And good morning. A little later in the morning, but it's still morning nonetheless. So it still fits. It is the Cornbread Man morning show. I am obviously not working today. I have some things to get done for my wife, and we're going to pick that up a little bit. It was delayed this morning, just had to get some things done. And so here we are. Good morning to you. Some maybe some different listeners due to the fact that it is a little later in the morning. So we normally are on around 6 ish. That's actually going to bump a little earlier, probably going forward a little earlier in the morning, just because of the cascade of things that I must get done in the mornings, the certain mornings anyway. Some mornings it might not be as difficult. So just have to adapt. And that's what you do. You just adapt to what you got going on and you just move forward. That's all you can do. And so, good morning. Good morning. Uh, my wife's check in for me, and then Broski. Broski's probably floating around somewhere out there. But hey, happy Tuesday, the 10th of February, and enjoyed last night's show with Biscuit Boy, and we always have a good time. Appreciate Fax Porcupine over on Podbean. Came in last night loud and proud, the fellow podcaster from New York City, and had some kind things to say. We appreciate him. Listened to him. I was listening to him a long time ago on Podbean coming home from work one night, and I was the only one in there. I know what that's like, It was a late time of night. Eventually, I think a couple more people came in, but I have had that happen. I mean, you're the only one in the studio besides the host. And good morning, Jerry. so, so, so I remember hey, there's been days that I've had nobody. So in certain streams, but later on, somebody will come up and watch some of it, and they'll give a like or post a comment, or you just notice that they were there. So, but how you doing, Jerry? Hopefully all is good. Hopefully blood work was good. Hopefully you've got this thing beat down and thrown down on the ground, and everything's going to be good going forward for your health and everything else that's been going on. Get some good results, good numbers. We want to continue to see that. So, as usual, we're going to do our Bible verse. First thing, let me share the screen so you can see that verse. I like these visuals. It's always nice to have the picture with the scripture. I like that. And there it be, therefore, being justified by faith, we have peace with God through our Lord Jesus Christ. Good morning, Brother Daniel. That's Romans 5:1. I like those. You can get those online, and they are excellent to have the verse with. You get a little, all kind of pictures, and it just brings another dimension to it. It's like the audio Bibles, and they have the scenery behind it. Those are really cool, too. So I like it when they do stuff like that. But hope you're doing well, Daniel. Hope all the kiddos and everybody's doing well. Jerry, I haven't gotten any results back yet, but hopefully it'll come in today. I got up at 3:30 this morning. I figured you might even get up early and pop in, but you didn't. So it just showed me that you wasn't on. So I clicked over. I got everything ready, and I thought, man, if I start now, I'm going to be really messed up because it's just there's a change in the there's a change in the scenery, as they say. I just have to do things a little bit different due to my wife's health, and so um, thank you for that, Ripper. I like the name Ripper Django. Yeah, well, I like throwing the little fire back up there. I did that at work the other day for a meeting, and somebody asked me, does that make you feel warmer looking at that? And I said, no, not really. I said, it's just more of, it kind of sets the tone, a scene, with a fire. I've done streams, done snow. I need to do a fish tank scene or something, with fish swimming around. That would be cool. It's kind of a meditative thing, it kind of relaxes, I think everybody's at some point has looked into a fire, a campfire or something, and just got lost in their thoughts. And so I kind of like it. But appreciate you over on Twitch side. So yeah, I like it. It doesn't make, in fact, it's kind of cool in the studio this morning. But I do have the warm coffee in my solo cup. I'm not doing a regular cup this morning. Uh, our national. Well, let's do birthdays first. There's a couple of birthdays I wanted to mention this morning. Um, Vic Fuentes, singer, 42 today. Who was else? There was somebody. There's a couple of Laura Dern. I remember her from the movies. 58 years old today. Laura Dern. She's been in some movies that I like. The great bassist Cliff Burton from Metallica. Of course, born in 62, died in 86. This is his birthday today. So all of you old time, way early in the game, way early in their history, Metallica fans, you certainly like Cliff Burton. I was getting Hammer Metal magazine at one time, and in some country overseas they have set up the Cliff Burton Museum that looked quite interesting. So I can't remember which one it was. I can't remember if it was Germany or Austria or wherever, but um, absolutely, the most blessed woman in the world. Be married to me 45 years this coming Saturday on Valentine's Day. A double dip there. You get the anniversary and the Valentine's Day. Jerry, you got to get very romantic now. You can't just this can't be the Hardee's breakfast deal. You're going to have to come up with something a little bit more to do. Roberta Flack, she died this past year. That's her birthday as well. And Robert Wagner, Heart to Heart, wasn't it? Wasn't he in Heart to Heart? And he's still living. I didn't know this. He is 95 years old. Robert Wagner, he's been in a little bit of everything. He's just one of those multitask, multidimensional type of actors who can fit into so many different scenes. Like he could be everything from the investigator, police captain, politician, probably bad guy. He was always kind of a good guy, I think, in most things he did. But Robert Wagner, 95 years old today. Wow, that's pretty cool. I like that. I think that was it that I wanted to mention as far as birthdays today. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Some of them, I'm like, I don't even know who these people are for birthdays. Our national day, that's one of my favorite things to do. I don't know why, but I find I have great. Robert probably got one of the best head of hair on TV. Well, he probably did because he always had that good looking hair on those TV shows and stuff. He was in a lot of stuff, but I can only remember the one show. But he's just one of those guys. So, Daniel, life has been great. I moved into maintenance at Roper a few weeks back. A fellow maintenance worker came up and asked me if I knew a David Cordell from Shaw. I said, yes, that's my brother. He said to tell you, Steve said hello. He had to mention Flash. And you would know. Yeah, I know. I do know. Tell him I said, hey. Me and Steve always talked a little bit, always back in the day. So, congratulations. That's a good deal, man. Get to move up and get some better pay. They'll work with hands. You're like my Josh. You got to work with them hands. That's a Cordell trait mainly. I don't know what happened to me. Like I'm horrible. I can't build nothing, fix nothing. I mean, very little. I can turn a wrench and a screwdriver, and that's about it. I'm not much of a mechanic, but I tell you, I have no talent in the world. God just said, well, I'll make you a preacher, and we'll let you do some podcasting. So and thankfully be a dad and a granddad. But yeah. It is National Flannel Day. National Flannel Day. I've never really been a big fan of flannel. I'm not against it. I'm not putting it down. But if you like the flannel shirt, it is National Flannel Day. Or, a lot of people today, they like to do the flannel jamas. That's what they are, the flannel jamas. They like to go out and wear that flannel out, school, work, just go in the store, wherever. Today is National Flannel Day, so enjoy that. It's also Safer Internet Day. We need that We need the safer internet day. I don't know that it gets any safer, but hopefully they'll put some restrictions on and of the evil stuff and keep it away from people. It's also National Home Warranty Day. That's an important thing. Home warranties. I guess the home buyer's warranty that was founded by them, but it's important to have. If you can get it, home warranty, and it's National Cream Cheese Brownie Day. I don't know that I've ever had the cream cheese brownie. I've had the brownie. I don't know that I've had the cream cheese brownie. Not sure about that one. But it is National Cream Cheese Brownie Day. So if you desire to go out, you can do that. And one more, I almost missed this one. It is National Umbrella Day. I don't know that you're going to need one today. I'm one of those guys, I've never really used an umbrella. I throw a cap on, and my wife was always umbrella. She always, if it was a slight mist, wife's digging out the umbrella. Got to have the umbrella. But hey, thank you there, Voice Cern, Voyan Cern. I hope I said that right. Man King, yeah, it's Man King 7. I'll do it, man. Let me get a chance to do that. But thank you for thank you for that. We'll give you a follow back there on Twitch. But and mate, sound like you're from down under. I like that. Hello, mate. National Umbrella Day. So I probably should have used them more than I have. I'm stubborn that way. I think there's only been a couple times that I've done it. If I pull up at work and it's like a downpour, I just try to wait till it's like a tick off of the worst downpour. My problem is it usually gets worse and I get wetter. I just go in, shake it off, dry off, get a cup of coffee, and go. So I'm pretty dumb. I should use the umbrella more, but I never think about it, and I never have one in the car. So, but for the wife, absolutely, I'd make sure she had one over her head. I don't know. They're very annoying to me. I mean, yeah, it's helpful, but you get to the door, you got to do something with it. It tries the wind's up, it tries to pull it away. You got to put it in the little bag if you go anywhere because it's dripping wet. It's just aggravating. And when you're getting in the car, and you're trying to get the umbrella down, and the wind's blowing, you're fighting that thing. I'd rather just run to the truck or the car and get in. Not much that I'm much of a runner anymore. I will say a fast shuffle. With have one knee that's not great. It's not horrible, but it's not great. Running there's not going to be a full on run unless I get that knee replaced. But I get around okay. I'm not in pain or anything, but it is weaker than the other one from an injury that I had. But it works fine most of the time, unless the weather's changing. Sometimes it's a little bit painful. I've noticed recently, I've never had, praise God, that I know of until now. I don't think I've ever really suffered from arthritis. I have noticed in the last year or so, my thumbs, I felt like I had some in there. Now I can feel it in my hands. I don't have the strength I used to have in my hands. And sometimes it just hurts to grip something and hold on to it. So it's all downhill from here, boys. I mean, a little bit of arthritis just tends to grow. But I made it to, 16 and a half before I really have felt the effects of it. So I don't think that's too bad. I rub a little bit of something on my hands and just go with it. But I notice sometimes it's difficult, Been helping the wife a lot after her health, issues, and lifting around with her. It's my shoulders are, helping her up and down. I tell her there's two things I notice. One is I can't lift as much as I used to, and also I don't recover as I used to. I don't recover like I used to. Like it takes me a little bit. If I get really wore out, it takes me a little bit longer to kind of get over that. You just press on, but there's days that I don't get a whole lot accomplished, and other days I do a lot. It just depends on how I feel. But that's your national days. Our this day in history. Where did I put that little rascal? This day in history. Uh, Ziggy Stardust debuted. Not that many of you probably even paid attention to Ziggy Stardust. But of course, David Bowie's alter ego was very popular at the time because a lot of glam metal music, whatever, I don't know where they claim glam metal, but anyway, was very big in England, especially, and that was a big time for him, and people still are look back and like that time frame. I never was really into it. There's a couple of songs on that he had that as Ziggy that was I liked them. French and Indian Wars end in 1763. That was 1972, by the way. The Ziggy Stardust debuted. French and Indian Wars ended in 1763. There's a couple other things, but that's the two things I wanted to mention. Always a lot of history. I mean, every day has so much. I just wanted to point those two things out. Our little town shout out. Go ahead and get all these in. Our little town shout out. We're going to Missouri, and we're going to a town called Boonville. That sounds like a kind of town I would like. I went to their website and I pulled it up. They're kind of in the almost the center of the state, but a little bit north of the very center. And I mean the center, like right in the middle, but slightly north of middle is Boonville. And looks like they've got some historical places there. I would like to study the history. There's still some architecture there in the town, the brick stuff, little plantation looks. But Boonville looks like a very beautiful place. There's some beautiful landscapes in Missouri. They have the Katy Trail State Park, Warm Springs Ranch. They have a Rivers, Rails, and Trails Museum. I would like that. The Mitchell Antique Motor Car Museum. I could dig that too. All there in Boonville. You can tour, I guess, the old Cooper County Jail. I don't know. It might be a place you stay at, but I think it's a history. I think it's historical. It was built in 1848 and in 1878. The jail was the longest running jail in Missouri and at one time housed Frank James. There's some history for you. Brother to infamous outlaw Jesse James. Some would say not an outlaw. Some people think he was a freedom fighter. But just saying, you can go there Monday to Tuesday, 9 to 1, Wednesday, Friday, 9 to 2, Saturday, 10 to 2. If I was ever in Boonville, I would definitely make this a stop. Definitely. Boonville, the old Cooper County Jail. So I guess that's Cooper County that Boonville sits in. And Frank James, not a big place. That was not a big jail. There's a lot of them weren't. They didn't keep people in jails too much. They keep them in work camps and that string them up. They expect they've got some hotels. They might have a little casino there. But Boonville, I've never been. I've been in Missouri, but I have never been to Boonville. They have a historic walking tour you can do. Yes, the Olive Capri Casino Hotel. This motor car, that looks interesting. Boy, they've got some old ones too. It's the largest and most impressive and extensive collection of antique Mitchell motor cars and wagons in the world. You will be instantly transported back in time to a more romantic time period between the memorabilia and antiques that adorn the museum and tell of the car's incredible history, with wagons from the late 19th century, cars that range from 1904 to 1920s, and the only Mitchell bicycle known in existence. These rare beauties are a one-of-a-kind experience. I could dig that. I could dig going there. That would be cool. I would like that. I don't really go to a lot of car shows and stuff, but I like museums. I could I could dig that. Jerry says there was a man from Monroe, Georgia. His name is Larry Witcher, but he is known as the professor of useless knowledge. Oh, he passed away Sunday morning. His son is building his casket. It's going to be beautiful. I was trying to figure out how to send you a picture of it on here, but since I can, I'll send you the picture that I have of what he's doing so far on it. I think this is a great respect from a son to a father. I thought you might like to know about that. Absolutely. And I did. I may be able to see that. I saw something pop up. Let me get over here in the right place, and we'll see if I can find that. I did see where you sent it. Sorry, sometimes these goofy passwords that pop up. Okay, it didn't come on that. Did you send it in Facebook or email, Jerry? Jerry Barrett? Because I will show it if I can get to it. Uh-huh. That's interesting. I didn't know there was such a person as known like that, but I do find that interesting. Not seeing it in there. I don't see it in there. Oh, you texted it to me. Okay. That's what I saw pop up. We got all these different resources. Let's see here. Wow. I do. And I'll tell you what I'll do is let me see if I can send that. I'm gonna send that to my email and I'll try to pop that up on the screen. That's interesting. You don't see many people doing this. Um, all right, let me get to my mail. I try to keep all these things open, but I have a lot of different. Let's see here, tabs open. Sometimes I have too many. It'll take it just a second. Let me do this question it's asking me, and then we'll get that in the email. We'll pop it up. Pop her up there. Looked like you're doing a heck of a good job. I've never done that, but it looks like he's doing a fantastic job. Let me pull that over here, and we'll get that pulled up on the screen. Larry loved history, and he could probably tell you more about the town of Monroe than anybody that was living today. Yeah, when you lose that, you kind of lose that, right? It's always nice to have those kind of folks that know that. Share screen. There it is. So he's building this. He said, "For you, Daddy, got a good start on it today. Not finished yet, but I'm getting there. Thank you. You're here with me as you always will be. Love you, Daddy." That's awesome. But it looks like he's doing a heck of a job. Looks like he's down to where he's got to stain it, put some hardware on it. Looks like he's about got it. That's pretty cool, man. It's a nice honor. A nice honor. You know, love your parents, do what you can, and honor them in the ways you can. That's pretty cool. Larry Witcher. Looks like he was the middle name there for from his dad. So that's cool. Let's see here. Of course, on Podbean, if you came in, I'm sorry, you wouldn't see that. But Carla Harvey, we were showing a casket of this guy named, what'd you say, Larry Witcher from Monroe, Georgia. He's passed away. Known as the professor of useless knowledge. His son's building him a casket. It is going to be beautiful. You're right on that. There is absolutely no doubt about that. That's pretty cool. Like I say, that's a great honor that they're doing there. That's cool. Sometimes you go out into cemeteries, and I'm that history kind of guy. I like to visit cemeteries, and sometimes you'll just see something that's really unique. And way before technology, and nowadays you can do so much with laser engraving and so many things that they can do for these headstones and stuff. But I was in that church I told you I was at in Athens, Alabama, up on the mountain. There's like 11 churches on that mountain, and one of them's a Baptist church. And I was there many, many, many years ago. And they have a big cemetery. It's up on the hillside beside them. And I went through it because I was, remember I told you I accidentally left something in the church, and I called the pastor and was hoping he could turn around and come back. He ended up not. Yeah, he had to leave, and he just called me later. He was away from the phone. He didn't have a cell phone, I don't think. I think it was a home phone. But anyway, I was looking through that cemetery, and there was a lady who had passed many years ago. Like this was not something that was in the last 20 years. It's a long time ago. And they had put a picture inside of that stone of her as a younger lady. And this is, like I say, this was something that had to be made a part of it. It was not something that was added later, and that would have been at a time where it was, not as difficult as like if you say 1800s, but still not with the technology that we have today. And I thought that was a nice touch that you saw the name, but you also saw what she looked like as a younger lady, adult but younger lady, and kind of if nothing else, it puts a face with a picture. I thought it was a nice deal. A lot of times you're doing some genealogy and stuff, and is this the person? And you kind of have an idea. And I know you go way back, you don't have pictures, but kind of nice that you could do that. They can laser engrave and stuff. I have it at my office at work. I need to show you something that I had made at a monument place that did a lot of that. I'll have to show it to you. I need to bring it, put it in the studio anyway. I'll show you something I used to put on my table that I had made. Some may like it, some may not, but it's okay. I was thinking along those lines, and I had a little thing that I did with that, and talking about used it as in a passing from this life to the next, and you know what they how they view death in this particular instance and stuff. So anyway, I'll have to get that. But I worked with an engraver, someone who lasered all that stuff in. He was showing me his equipment. He took me back and showed me what they used and how they could do that. And he said just about anything they could put within that stone, or either carve in or overlay or whatever with that. I thought that was pretty neat. So, but that place is went out of business or something. There's another place that I know of, but I guess it's a hard business. A lot of times nowadays, I mean, because people are not buying stones like they used to, and they mail off for a lot of them. They don't buy local. They order who the funeral homes kind of suggest, and they work with people that are cheaper. Uh, and some there may be some use local, but you can do local if you want. But a lot of times people do a package deal. They don't even do that. They just order from that place that comes from. Some of them come from Georgia, but they're down further in the state, and they ship them up here. Can you imagine the old, and I mean old timey, the ones that carved, chiseled all that stuff and made that stone, the work that was put into that, and you just imagine the talent and skill level of those people. I love to go to the old sections of cemeteries and just look at some of the massive stones that have all these inlays and stuff. I mean, I'm talking 10, 12, 15 foot tall, massive base, and all kind of wording in there, a lot of inlays, roses carved in, all this stuff. I'm thinking, I just wonder how many man hours that a carver or somebody like that, stonemason, whatever you call them, would do to get something like that made. I couldn't even imagine. But it is true talent, an absolute true talent, and they were worth every penny they were paid. I just couldn't imagine that. But nowadays they're all just, I mean, unless you really have somebody have some money, they're all basic now. It's just a basic with a, they'll put a couple things in it, all done by laser and stuff. But they're basic tombstones. None of the stuff that used to be. There's no comparison. Every once in a while, you'll find somebody that really wants to honor, and they have specific ideas of what they want for that tombstone, and they'll spend some money and get it. But there's nobody does anything that I know of anywhere close to what you would see in the old cemeteries or the old graves with the stones. The chisels, are extremely expensive. I would bet those chisels they use are extremely expensive. Yeah, man, because you got to hold up to all that, all that you're doing. But think about it. I mean, if you mess that up, you start over. I mean, you got one shot at that. It just baffles me because I don't have any kind of talent like that. It just baffles me how they can see that in their head and make it happen. I just can't. I can't even imagine it. Truly talented, truly. Some people just can do that. They can envision um, what they want to make something. If it could be a wood carving, could be whatever, and they can just see it and they do it, and the proportions be the size it is supposed to be. Because some people can make stuff, but proportionally they don't know how to make it match. And you'll have a guy that looks like he's 20 foot tall versus everything around him, or very very small. They don't know how to do that. They don't know how to put the size, the matrix in there. I was talking. I went. I've never been around a lot of artsy people, but I have spent some time. I did take an art class with college, and at one time I was doing security on the side downtown at the library, and they had a lot of artists come in, different types. And one day this guy come in, and he was a part of a group of artists in town, and anybody, anything, and everything you could think of. But I found this one type that I think I could enjoy it, and it wouldn't be bad because it's all built on squares. And if you figure out the square, you can pretty much make the drawing. You can do the colors and stuff that they have, but they do it all. That's what they really do when they do a big art out in the public. It's all squares. They were teaching me about that. How you lay that out. You lay it out, and you know exactly where that's supposed to go, and you just do it. But I'm thinking, dude, I couldn't do it. I'd get lost in the shuffle on that. I'd have the wrong thing on the wrong side of it, and it would end up being bad. You imagine that. I mean, think about you go out to the side of a building for I don't know how long it takes them. I got to imagine it takes some time, and you got everybody watching you make this thing happen. You got everybody watching. Some people just come out and take their lunch break and watch you paint, and you got to hit this thing right. Reminds me of that time on Good Times. JJ does the painting at the bank, and he made it a little too in the hood for them. They didn't like it, and Daddy had to threaten the guy going to pay his son because he wasn't going to pay him. That's funny because he made it very different than what they expected, but he did it the way he saw it, and that was going to be his talent to get out of rough area, was going to use the talent of art, an artiste, as he would say. But I have no art. I took an art. I've taken two. I said one. I've taken two. I took one in what we call junior high. I don't even know why I took it. I really don't remember. But I think I took it thinking, I'll learn how to draw a few things. So, like any of those, the first thing they teach you to draw or to paint or whatever is the bowl of apples or the thing of apples. Could be a bowl, could be whatever. I stunk at it. I knew right then and there art was not going to be my lane to get anywhere. And I looked around at these people that were truly blessed with talent. I mean, they're just whipping through this thing like it's nothing. And I'm thinking stick figure kind of thing, and I mean, I got it, but my apples were not the same, not sized right. I was like, my only thought was endure to the end. Like, just make it out and don't fail this class, and then never be stupid enough to take it again. But in college, I did take one because I needed an elective, and on a hoot, I thought, let's try it, and I actually enjoyed it, but I didn't have to draw anything. That's why I enjoyed it. I built a presentation off of other people's art, and then I did a essay on that, and I could do that. So, looking at the pictures we were using from all different angles and talking about it and what shaped the picture, what messaging was it sending, da da da. Back in the day, all the old photographers. I say back in the day when photography first came to be, all those pictures, just about all of them were staged. The photographers and their helpers would move bodies around. They would set guns up in certain. They were looking for the shot. They were. They were the social media folks of their day. They wanted to get that picture just right. So, like, if you go to Gettysburg and the famous picture up there, what was that, Devil's Den or whatever, where the guns there and the body and all that, they moved those bodies around. And Matthew Brady was one of them. There was 4 or 5 that were very well known. Most of them went bankrupt. A lot of those pictures were lost forever. They got broken. Some of them made it in the Library of Congress, and you can still see those. And there's some famous ones. The bodies along the French Row, that's all staged, all staged. They were truly there and they were dead, but they moved the bodies around and propped them up and did all kinds of things to get the shot. That's a little bit frustrating. I would rather see it as it exactly was when they walked up. Like, don't touch nothing. Let's take the picture, then they can bury the dead. No, I would rather see that than something that's staged like that. That's really unfortunate. I didn't know that for a long time. But I also felt like something was odd about it because I was like, how did all these 5 people lay in the same direction? So I was like, I think some of these been moved. Well, I did some research and found out they staged the scene. You can't trust them photographers. It doesn't matter what year. They're always lying to you to get you to smile, right? Look at the ball. Oh, many, many, many years ago, in here in Chattanooga, which I live outside of the state, but close by. What was the name of that? Olin Mills. They did a lot of money, a lot of business, and as technology advanced, it just killed all that. And now you got people doing it from their basement or what, and they do the school pictures and stuff, and it's a little business, but it's nothing like it used to be. Remember when Walmart had the photography areas? All that went away. All of it went away. No money in it. People did their own stuff. They took their own pictures. With technology, they could do anything they needed to do with it. They didn't need somebody to put it through the chemicals and all that, make the different sizes. They did it themselves. One of the cool things I have put up, I need to get it out and sort of display it. One of my grandfathers had it. My grandmother gave it to me, but it was one of those old, was it the Brownie camera where it had a big flash and you look through the top? I've got that put up somewhere. I need to get it out. You don't see nothing like that anymore, but that was pretty cool. I remember that one. Then I remember, of course, it revolutionized when the Polaroids came out. When people started taking Polaroids and they could see there within like 3 minutes the image. Before digital got there, imagine how much money people spent on those to have pack after pack after pack taking pictures at a family get together. It's like, hold on, spits that picture out, and you'd put another one in, and there's only like 5 of them came to a pack or something, and they weren't cheap. There would always be that person in your family that would bring their camera around and they would take the Polaroids. And everybody wanted a copy, oh, I want that, And then the digital craze happened. And now look where we're at. AI is going to be doing it all. You know what I mean? Photographers, there's still a call for photography and photographers who get the shot, get that exact time when the sun is shining at this perfect level and it just illuminates these things. You're still always going to have that. But with the use of AI and everything, people do all that anyway. It's a made up scene, but they don't care. People will buy it. They just want something. They don't care. But there are still those that can sell their their pictures and photography too, magazines, newspapers, I guess, and whoever else, and sell them online. But it has all changed. We were talking, me and Biscuit Boy was talking about how things changed over time, and that people get caught in a paradigm where they think it's never going to be anything other than what it is. And we were talking about jobs that are no more, like the VCR repairman or the TV repairman. We know we don't have VCRs anymore, and TVs are throwaways. Goes bad, you chuck it, you get a new one. It used to be a business. It was a pretty big business. It was a nice living for TV repairmen, you know, especially back in the bulb days. Yeah, you've got a picture tube. Your picture tube's gone. That was death. That was the blue screen of death back in the day when the TV repairman, when it had that weird look and sound that it made, and then you would call the guy up and he'd go, "I hate to tell you this, but the picture tube is gone." You're like, "Oh, like the kiss of death. No more TV." But he says, "Oh, it's a whatever tube. I can fix that. I think I got one on the truck. Pull it out and plug it in and go." They made a good living doing that. Or a condenser or something. Nowadays, chunk it. One of the things that I laugh at, I shouldn't, it's a wicked pleasure, is watching the people that come to Walmart. And I'm just using them example because I see it all the time. And it happens every day, at least, I'll say 3 times a day, at least. They will pull up to buy the big screen TV. This is the big, whatever it might be. Maybe that's the 55, the 65, or the 75. Somewhere in there, that's the flat big screen in the big old box. So there's no planning on this, absolutely none. So they go in, they've gotten some money, and it's the big day. They come out, they are all smiles, got that thing rolling out through there, big old box, and they walk up and they forget, like they never thought about it. Never thought about it. They're driving like a little subcompact. Like the TV is wider than their car. There's no trunk to speak of. And you can see them sitting there scratching their head like, what are we going to do? So many of them will chunk the box and they'll take the TV. In some cases, without the box, they can slide that TV in somewhere. It may be packed, but they'll figure out a way. And some of them, I've seen it so many times, they lay it on top of the car and they each reach out and hold on to the TV as they're going down the road. I've seen that so many times. Or, and I've saw this one, this is the funniest one. They came by Uber. So thankfully the guy that was Uber came. He was in at least like a small minivan. But they tried to put the box in across the, from, because he had the kind where both sides opened up. So they slid the TV in there and they couldn't shut the doors. So the Uber guy, he kind of takes control here because he's wanting to make money anyways, wanting to get rolling. And they did the same thing, took it out of the box, kind of slid it underneath the seats, and somehow we're able to fit that in. But every day, I'm telling you, at least 2 or 3 times a day, people will come to the store to buy a big screen TV. They have no clue. They never thought about how we're going to get it home. It's all about the purchase, the buy. And they get to their car and they're like, oh. And people are just the way they are. If they buy a new car seat, the old car seat gets left there with a box and everything. I just break it out, put the kiddo to use it right away. The old one goes in the parking lot you're lucky if they put it by the trash can. Many times they do. Or they just leave it on one of those little islands where the tree's at. And the box as well, it gets set there too. And they roll on. It's gotten better. I used to go around and pick a lot of stuff up when I do the job, and it has gotten better. It is not the mentality there like it used to be. But yeah, like if they get the big oil container, and I don't know, they must be using a lot of oil, but they'd pour all that oil in there and then they just leave that container antifreeze. They leave all that sitting on the lot. It's like, not mine. I've used it. I don't need it. I'm going to drop it, and you can, have a nice day. But yeah, next time you're in Walmart, watch them. They'll come out one of them big 75s. They'll be driving a little Honda Civic or something. They have no clue. Never thought about it. I saw a family one night, and I think they did it. I really do think they did it. Earlier in the evening, they bought the big 75. They had the room for it, and whatever they brought. By that night, they were back saying it was broke. I think they broke. I think they dropped it's what happened. Not to say that sometimes you don't get something broken in shipment. I think they broke the thing and then brought it back, wanting to trade out for another brand new one because they dropped it. They were acting a little hinky. I hate that word, but every once in a while I use it. A little hinky. And the TV is busted. And then they're like, oh, it came out of the box like that. It's like they're telling you. You can always tell the way they're overselling it because they're telling people that don't even care or have anything to do with it. Like, it's just like, okay, whatever. The guy who's cleaning floors, he don't care. He really don't care. He's like, whatever. Oh, my goodness. Oh, the weather has been a little cool in the morning still, but it's a lot better. We're seeing warmer temperatures. People are breaking out their shorts, running around in shorts, tank tops. Maybe a little early for that, but people are so ready for warm weather, they're running with it. In your news items on Newsmax, Jorge Rodriguez says that Venezuela is stabilizing since America took down Maduro. So hopefully they'll get their act together. People will start having food on the cupboard and in the cupboard, make a little money. Things will start getting going, get that old industry back up to square. That would all be good too. There's still some issues down there. But yeah. But also in the same breath, Jorge says that the president of Venezuela, who is the president of Venezuela's National Assembly, demanded in an exclusive interview with Newsmax that the Trump administration, quote unquote, immediately return former dictator Nicolas Maduro and his wife, Celia Flores. What I do believe is that the President Maduro and the First Lady, Celia Flores, who have been captured, looking into international law, they should be freed immediately, he told Rob Schmidt tonight through an interpreter. Rodriguez, whose sister is acting president, Delcy Rodriguez, was non-committal when asked whether Nobel Peace Prize laureate Maria Corina Machado, leader of the opposition Vente Party, would be freely allowed to return. So I don't know. I don't think that's going to happen. He's not going back. Not going back. They can say that all they want. That's just not. It's just not in the cards. That's just not what's going to happen. Venezuela did order the rest of the opposition leaders' ally, but they say the country is calm after Maduro's capture. This guy was a butcher, man. He the fear and oppression and tortures and all that things under these dictatorships. Absolutely, everybody would have been scared. The Armenian prime minister says President Trump deserves the Nobel Peace Prize. Another headline: Robert Kennedy Jr. Warfare against ultra-processed foods. He says that America's reliance on heavily processed food is harming children. Amen. Describing efforts to reduce such foods as spiritual warfare. That's an interesting term. He made the comments in a sit-down with Heritage Foundation President Kevin Roberts to mark 1 year of his Make America Healthy Again initiative. Kennedy argued that ultra-processed foods dominate the American diet. That's truth. And fuel chronic disease, particularly among children. And it's true, our children are not in shape for the most part. There's many that are, there's many who are not. You see the little kids that are, 8, 9 years old, and they can hardly get around. They're eating all this crap food that they can afford, or just have a very poor planning. They just go with the nuggets and the mac cheese, whatever. He says that spiritual warfare is a war at scale against cellular activity. It's an assault on children, Kennedy said, pointing to administration data showing that roughly 70% of what American children consume falls into, yes, the ultra processed category. 70%. Kennedy compared the health impact of ultra processed foods to tobacco, saying that they are much worse than cigarettes when it comes to long term damage. He said diet related chronic diseases now consume a significant share of federal health care spending, estimated at about 40 cents of every taxpayer dollar goes toward treating preventable metabolic disease. That's a significant impact. While critics have accused Kennedy of favoring government overreach, he rejected the idea that his agenda amounts to a nanny state. He said Americans should retain the freedom to choose what they eat, including soda or desserts, but deserve transparency and honest guidance about the health consequences of those behavior. I'm not going to take away anybody's donuts or Coca-Cola, he said, emphasizing that personal responsibility must be paired with accurate information. I don't know if you're still out there, Jerry, but Jerry, you think that RFK Jr. would like your Cooking with Jerry show? It's not processed. Oh, I don't know. That'd be an interesting discussion. He also criticized what he describes as corporate influence over nutrition science and public health messaging, urging parents to approach food marketing and official guidance with fierce skepticism. He argued that government and industry have failed to adequately protect children from harmful dietary trends. As part of his agenda, he has pushed for revisions to the federal dietary guidelines for Americans, calling for a greater emphasis on protein, healthy fats, and whole foods over refined carbohydrates and processed products. So the fight goes on. Never heard that term, though, spiritual warfare. Interesting. What an amazing time we live in. The headlines just keep it coming. Let's see here. The administration is tempering down expectations on job growth, lower than expected. You know, there was a lot of. I was reading an article about Rosie Perez, who said that she told the Democrats in the election, running up to the election, that Kamala couldn't win, and nobody would listen to her. They would not listen to her. She said it's basically those words. It's the economy, stupid. She said in talking to Democrats she knew, MAGA people she knew, independents, she said that all of them said the same thing. Basically, they weren't interested in all this social justice and all this stuff. They wanted to know about the economy. It's always the economy. People want to know how much money is going to be ripped from them. They want value for money. They want a good payday, a good wage, low taxes, low energy costs. That's what guides them because of the expense of it. And they here they are pumping all this crazy stuff. She said, I knew that Kamala was going to lose. Now, she is trying to say, of which some didn't like that I brought it up, but the video, she thinks they can get mileage out of that and hurt the president. She said, I cannot imagine anyone at this stage voting for that man. Well, you're wrong, sister. Monthly payroll employment grew by an average of 53,000 positions in November, December, compared to an average gain of 183,000 jobs per month in the 10 years prior to the COVID-19 pandemic, and far more than during an employment boom in the later years of the Biden administration. Some of that job growth, however, was driven by a rapid rise in the supply of workers due to loose immigration policy, something President Donald Trump has reversed, and which is now complicating economists' efforts to understand whether the labor market is slowing because of the economy is weakening or because there aren't enough employees to fill available jobs. We've got a lot of different things going on. I can tell you, being attached to a company, that right now we're just not hiring a whole lot. But what we're all doing is cross-training employees to do other jobs. the market right now doesn't support us hiring anymore. It's kind of flat. In fact, it's very flat in many areas. And some say that the administration is not seeing the real picture of the economy. Possibly. Possibly. Hence talk of the $2,000 checks that's going to come probably right before the election. It looks that way. In some cases, you can't get good employees to fill the positions. And in some places, it doesn't matter good, bad, or horrible worker. You can't get any of them because there's just not enough of them. Nobody wants the horrible worker. I will say they're doing a good job with the technical schools and getting job training done for current employees, people coming out of high school, giving them a trade. That's working well. I liked what they've done with that, getting back to the way it was back in the day. My dad went to a technical school and got 1 or 2 year degrees right out of the military. And he used that. He worked in foundry work for basically the rest of his life, along with security. Oh, my flame went away. That's not right. How could it do me that way? That's not cool. Let's see if we can pull that back up. That's not fair. Got to have my flame back there. It's connecting. Let's see if it does it. Here we go. Got to have my flame. I need to hardwire it. There we go. It'll all disappear in a minute. There we go. Well, it's still trying to give me messages. Interrupt my flame. The U.S. employment rate was 4.4% in December. Not a bad number, really. Economists polled by Reuters expect it will be unchanged for January. Non-farm payrolls likely increased by 70,000 jobs last month. Survey economists showed that after rising by 50,000 in December. So it's not where they want it. It's like I said, it's a little bit off. So we need that increase. We need energy to continue to come down. Oh, Miss Mace, Representative Mace says alleged Epstein predators must testify. She said on Monday that accountability in the Jeffrey Epstein case can still be achieved, arguing that alleged predators must be compelled to testify before Congress. She said plans to deliver a list of individuals she describes as alleged predators to Oversight Committee Chair James Comer, Republican, Kentucky, urging the panel to call them before Congress. There's talk out there, and somebody may already have the names, but according to Massey and others, there's names that have been redacted, 6 to 8 current sitting members, I believe, of Congress may be mentioned. There may be enough there that they could be in some trouble. 6 to 8 that are named of what they've seen. So they're urging for these names to be released and let it go wherever it goes, So far, the Justice Department has briefed members of Congress on who those names are and what redactions have been done, and now people are calling for those to be. And I think they're going to do it, but they're going to do it in stages. So I'm going to produce a list to the chairman of the Oversight Committee, James Comer, of all the alleged predators, because they need to be invited to the Oversight Committee. And if they won't show up, we need to subpoena them. If the DOJ or the Department of Justice won't do the job of investigating and putting people in jail, then the House Oversight Committee should, she said. May specifically cited billionaire Bill Gates, saying her efforts helped prompt his expected appearance before the committee. Quote, I'm the reason that Bill Gates is going to be asked and invited to come speak to oversight, end quote. She said, quote, if he doesn't show up, he will be subpoenaed per the chairman of the Oversight Committee, end quote. She said the same approach should apply broadly. I agree. Let's put them before the cameras and put them before, you know, the committees and grill them on this stuff. They'll probably all plead the fifth. She said, right now, the American people in the heartland and everywhere in the middle class knows that there is a two-class system of justice. If you are rich, powerful, or from Hollywood, you can do anything you want in the world. When you're American, you don't get that. So they got to go to jail. Amen, sister. Amen. I'll amen that. They should not be able to get away with these predator actions. The president has threatened planes in the air if the talks don't go well with Iran. Or he's saying jets in the air. But that's what basically the message is going on. Blaine Holt, who is a retired Air Force Brigadier General, I like listening to him. He said that Iranian leaders know if they could try to continue stalling demilitarization talks with the Trump administration, they are facing U.S., quote, jets in the air, end quote. I think they've got all the particular resources in the region to do the job that they want to do. Now, whether we should do that or not, I have varying opinions about it. I certainly think that Iran needs to be put in a box for their terroristic activities. There should be some oversight there. There should be some things it's not allowed to have because they have always used this to hurt neighbors, be those Arab or others. He told American Agenda on Monday, I think the first time the United States senses what we saw last time, which was stalling, trying to move the goalpost, irreconcilable differences, if you will, then we're going to start seeing jets in the air. He said it may not take much to move the needle from attempted diplomacy to new military strikes. Quote, I would expect that first you'll see the meeting between Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and President Donald Trump, but I think they're getting ready to wind it up because it's not only about missiles, it's because of the slaughter of innocent Iranians, who thousands upon thousands have been arrested, some say tortured as well, for being a part of the leaders of the protests. He said that the IRGC, the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, he said, is the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps going to flip it in the hands of the Iranians, or are they going to try and make a stand and fight them? I think that's where we really are going. He said having a Navy admiral showing up at a recent meeting in full dress uniform was a not so subtle reminder to Iran that they're looking you right down the barrel about what his tools are, what his capabilities are, what he's prepared to do to you. He said the military presence is sometimes needed to put reluctant regimes in a better state of mind. You got to get your mind right, as they said in the movie. What we have here is a failure to communicate. There's nothing like a guy in uniform who's got the weight of a carrier strike force behind him to get into your head rent free. I like that guy. It's like, you're listening. Yeah. Okay. So you're saying you're not going to do anything here? Give us anything? You're not going to pull down some of the threats you've been making? You'll stop selling the drones, sending drones around the area. You're not going to do that? Okay. Excuse me. I need to make a phone call. And just call right in front of them. Yes, I want you to put the carrier strike force, put them on guard of within 1 hour. We may have everything ready. We're going to be launching airstrikes against Iran at my word. Have everything ready. Then hang up and say, do you change your opinion? Because I can make one more phone call and we're going. Everything's getting ready right now. So is that really the way this is going to go? Is that what you want? So you're I don't care what people think about Iran. The people are awesome. These mullahs and leaders of Iran, they're evil. I have no use for them. Oh. There was a famous meeting between Ariel Sharon, the former tank commander, He was prime minister, and they had been tracking the supposed supply ship, oil ship, the Korean A, which had left, which had been loaded up on an island with $50 million worth of military hardware. You can still look that up online and see all on the deck the things they had, millions of bullets, you know, launchers and all kinds of stuff, guns. They'd been tracking it all along the way. So when it got into the Red Sea at a predetermined location, they stormed this thing. They took it over. They got the manifest that told them everything they needed to know. At the very time this is going on, this operation is going on, this guy is the guy from Iran is sitting there, you know, saying that all is good. I think it's from Iran. Maybe it might have been the guy from the PA, Palestinian Authority. Maybe it was him. You know, all is good. We want to have peace. We want to get along. Da da da. He gets a phone call or somebody whispers in here. I can't remember, and they're letting him know they got it. We got it all. We got the paperwork. We got the crew. They're talking like birds, and I mean they're singing, and we got it all. So, yeah, thank you very much. And he turns and tells the guy, "We got it. So you want to change your story? We got it all." And the guy has a sick feeling and look, and I think excused himself from. This is at his home, if I remember right. It's always good to have the upper hand. Be stronger, be on the upper hand, and be able to have leverage, as they say, of being able to, um, you know, be up on your enemy and know how they work. Because they'll lie to you in a minute over there. They don't care. All of them will. All of them. They'll lie to you in a heartbeat. They don't care. That line's nothing to them if it advances their agendas. Of course, there's a lot that do that here. Absolutely. Let's see here. Have you seen the video of Roger Goodell, the NFL commissioner, bro hugging and patting Bad Bunny? I don't know if that was before the show or right after, but but then there's the video of him looking up as this demonic scene is being played out. I don't care what people think. Entertainment. It's very ugly, horrible. the, the video said that moment when you realize this was a mistake. It's a pretty good video, just showing his face. Now he's looking at all that, and people are calling for him to be fired. Not going to happen. For all the people that hated Roger Goodell is the buffer for all the owners. He protects them. He takes the heat instead of them. So they pay him a lot of money. At one time, it was $30 million a year. I'm sure it's higher than that as to be the commissioner. He is making money hand over fist, extremely powerful position. And the owners, most of the owners will back him. Even if there's a handful out there that don't care for him, he's got everybody in tow that he needs, and he'll do whatever he needs to do. And any heat that comes up, he steps out and takes the heat for them. And we continue to go on. You know, there was a big push at one time to get him fired, resign. I said, no, I'm not going to do it. Not going to do it. Not going to do it. Russia detains a third suspect in the plot to kill general. There was an attempt last week to kill senior military intelligence officer Vladimir Alexeyev. Boy, I'm messing that up. Yev. So they continue to arrest people. I'm surprised that no one has put an attempt on Putin's life. If there has, we've never heard of it. But, well, except for the guy that his buddy who went rogue against him marched on nationalists, then said, "Oh, sorry, we're not going to do that." After they threatened to kill every family member of everybody connected to everybody in that opposition, they all stood down, and then they called him in, supposedly to work together. Sure, enjoy your airplane flight down to the ground, dead. You don't mess with these people. Some people love him. They love old Putin, not me. There's a little article here about Greenland, the new geopolitics of the Arctic. I've not heard much more about it. They seem to be just letting this thing sort of become very organic, and they got a deal, and we're going to do what we need to do there, and they're kind of letting that die down. I think that news bot was getting a little old for them. Wasn't playing as well as they would like it to, and they let that one go. Not that they're not going to get what they want, or pretty much, but the whole becoming a state and a part of America, that's not going to happen. Not at this time. Not at this time. Let's look at a couple other things here before we get off of here. Be back on this evening. Pet show tonight, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Cat Lady, Cornbread Man. We're going to talk about we'll do trivia again. Like the trivia. We'll talk about adoptable pets. There's some news up here. They're giving to one of the animal shelters. If you eat at certain places, a certain percentage goes to that. We'll talk about that tonight. That's a good one like that. That's an easy way to raise some money. And thankfully to those vendors who are willing to work through like that. Let's see here. GOP lawmaker calls for FCC to take action after Bad Bunny's shocking and vulgar halftime show. So we'll see. Big news that dropped today in the Gateway pundit about Fulton County short over 40 boxes of 2020 election materials after former head of the Atlanta FBI refused to carry out investigation of 2020 steal was let go, according to Jim Hobbs. As the Gateway pundit Brian Lupo reported earlier, Fulton County officials were short by over 40 boxes. When federal agents raided the Fulton County, Georgia Department of Elections in late January, they were expecting to confiscate 700 boxes of election materials. Well. Paul Brown, the FBI special agent in charge at the Atlanta field office, was forced out of that job earlier this month, according to MS Now's Ken DeLyon. According to MS Now, Brown was forced out this month after questioning the Justice Department's renewed push to probe Fulton County's role in the 2020 election after expressing concern about unsubstantiated allegations of voter fraud in Fulton County. Brown was removed after expressing concerns about that FBI investigation into President Donald Trump's longstanding and unsubstantiated allegations of voter fraud in the county anchored by Atlanta, or country anchored by Atlanta, no county, and for refusing to carry out the searches and seizures of records tied to the 2020 election. The investigation goes forth. 40 boxes missing. Are we surprised? In this Superior Court in Fulton County paperwork, or copy of, in the affidavit of Nadine Williams, she said, "My name is Nadine Williams. I know I am over 21 years of age, suffering from no known disabilities, and otherwise competent to testify. The facts are set forth herein are based upon my personal knowledge. I submit this affidavit in support of the petition and amended petition to squash state election board subpoenas. I am director of the Fulton County Department of Registration and Elections. I have investigated the estimated time and expense that would be necessary for the DRE to comply with the subpoenas issued November 4th, 2024 by the State Election Board. All of which seek documents related to the 2020 election in Fulton County. Fulton County's 2020 election materials are stored in over 700 boxes, each of what must be opened, searched, and sorted systematically to locate the majority of the documents requested in the subpoenas. Authorities later said they were only able to find 656 boxes total more than 40 boxes short from what they were expecting to find. So, yeah, I want to see all that lined up. What do those records say? How many of them are there? How are they stored? All that stuff you have to do. As things going to spin around, there's going to be a lot of people egg on their face. I've heard it for years now, and people just run with it. But there were irregularities and things that went on. I don't think anybody can doubt that now. So, carry on, wayward son. It's going to be a lot of people lose their jobs, I think, eventually. And maybe some people that'll be given justice for how they've been treated very unjustly along the way for things that they have said. Now, some of them, I think, opened their mouth and said they had stuff they didn't have. It might even been true, but they didn't have the records. But they were acting like in some of those press conferences and stuff that they had it all. It turned out it was a nothing burger. They didn't have it. Not that nothing didn't go on. It's nothing. They didn't have anything. And they made themselves look stupid. And there were a number of them. It's been bungled over the time by both sides, honestly. Maybe now we'll see some answers and maybe, just maybe, some justice. It's just after the fact, way after the fact. But these lawsuits that people are taking, they're getting all this massive amounts of money, and we're still trying to figure out the deal. So we'll see where that goes. It's my state. I certainly want to see it done correctly. And it can be. It absolutely can be. So the president says you simply can't have a great country if you don't have religion. Well, Mr. President, I don't have religion. I have a relationship. But I understand what he's saying there. There's a very tragic story about the retired Republican Minnesota gubernatorial candidate Jeff Johnson's. She was found stabbed to death in her home. A lot of rage. Very sad. And of course, the search goes on for Savannah Guthrie's mom. Information's not lining up the way it should be. Misinformation has been put out there. And there is a case in Alabama, and I'm hoping to have these folks on. They said they would do it. They're trying to bring, this is in Mobile, Alabama. I've been talking with these folks. Let's bring home the Chalk family. They are missing, and they're still trying to get all the leads in that they can. It's the Facebook website is titled "Bring the Chalk Family home." They posted an hour ago. Just one small detail could shatter the silence and change everything. Someone out there has the missing piece. The moment you share is now. Big deal going on in that case, and so I think they're going to come on. We talked about it. Just to expand the reach of that knowledge, get more people involved. Maybe they hear something, see something, whatever. So that's horrible to have to live like that, to not knowing where your loved one is. The deadline has passed, and Savannah's mom being out there, no evidence that Bitcoin has been paid, although it may be. How do you get away with this stuff? I mean, it's just amazing to me. They're able to send notes back and forth. How do you deposit the Bitcoin? Which a lot of people don't understand Bitcoin anyway. But how do you do that? And how do you not get caught at the same time? That's a crazy story. Some would believe tragically that she's already passed. She's 84 years old or something like that. And she has health needs, and there was blood found on the property, her blood. And so there's no proof that she's alive other than they've said she's alive. And she's got needs that she has. And it's a really odd case, Paul. How come you would take somebody like that as a kidnap? Somebody you're really going to have to do a lot with. You may be having to pick up a prescription or something, honestly, because she's no more. I mean, she's not going to be anymore. She's sick. She got things she has to take. She's on maintenance medication. She has to have things every day. And this is now going on long enough that she would start being impacted if she didn't have access to that medicine. So stay tuned to that one. It's going to be um, it's going to be a lot different of the end result here. Maybe things that come out of that. Don't forget Wednesday night, the SFP Racing Hour and SFP Sports will be on. Dean in the house. I think Biscuit Boy will probably join us, and our friend Dusty Poff is going to join us on selected Wednesdays. I'm not sure if this will be the first Wednesday. Maybe. If not the next time, 2 weeks away. That's really what I was targeting. So Dusty's going to come join us and co-host some. He's excited about it. We're excited about it. He really enjoys the medium, and I'm looking forward to him being on. He talks about a variety of subjects. Let's pray for all these drivers as they get started. The season's getting ready to crank up. They're doing practice laps, getting their cars ready, paint jobs all done, the wrap as they call it, getting all the stuff done, getting ready for the season. So we'll see. And we still have more interviews coming. More coming. And Dean has set up another interview. I'm not sure exactly what it meant. I have to ask him. He's got it's a sports interview. That's sports, but sports Braves interview. I have no idea. He hasn't told me yet. And Paul is working on a guy on the Appalachian Trail he wants to bring on the show. So I'm a big believer. If you want to do something, you own it, you do it. We all work together, and it shouldn't be all on one person. That gives them ownership into the program and the passion, and they are doing that. So God bless them, and they're doing a good job. Great job. Well, all right. I probably need to get off of here. I got some things I need to get done. I'll be back on this evening for the pet show and probably at least one other one. We'll do music show tonight. Didn't get back out last night. I was hurting a little bit. But we got to do some things for my wife. I was give my son a time to wake up. He sleeps late because he works nights. And he stays up in the night. The midnight hour. He sleeps like a rock, too, let me tell you. But I wanted to get back on, do the morning show. We're just late, but we're here. Take care, everybody. We'll see you this evening with the cat lady. Unless something changes, we're due to be on. See you soon.